Okay, you beast, it's merge time. Oh, this car should not be moving through the air this quick. I do have a feeling of everybody get the out of my way in this. I have a gigantic hood ornament in front of me. I have two headlight bulges going down. I hear that noise out the back. I feel like I have an endless amount of torque.
I have tasted engine swap perfection. This is a dented, rusted, abandoned parts car that has been given another chance to ride to Valhalla. What you're looking at is a 1968 Mercedes-Benz 280S sedan, but under the hood is the Mercedes 113 5.4-liter AMG fuel-injected V8 making 349 horsepower and 392 pound-feet of torque. But that's not where this swap ends. It has the 5-speed G-tronic automatic transmission from an E55 AMG and the suspension, brakes, and rear end from the car. That means you get ABS, traction control. And Aaron, the owner, also wired the traction control lights and other idiot lights to the 280's dash. This is a dented, rusted, ugly-looking luxury car from just after the turn of the century. And it drives like a frickin' bullet. It's mean and ugly as it intimidates traffic. But inside, it is smooth, refined. The only thing he couldn't keep retro was the steering shaft, the steering column, and the steering wheel. So it has the steering wheel and everything from a 2001 E55. Oh, and the center console as well. But even though it has an E55 center console, he was able to take the small shift knob and thin shift shaft and fit it into a modern-ish Mercedes-gated shift pattern. So your left hand is clutching a wheel from 2001, while your right hand is clutching the shifter from a 68. But it's all working together. Oh, this thing drives so well, it rolls. It's rolling death.
These cars were for rich bad guys in any teen movie in the 80s. You want to show a rich asshole, put him in a 280S. This is like Mr. Monopoly Man with a monocle and a top hat. Yes, I'm gonna bulldoze the skate park and put up a factory. That guy.
This episode of Regular Car Reviews is sponsored by Brooklyn Bedding. And I know I'm not jumping around and bouncing on the beds like I normally do. It's because I'm developing a hernia. I'm so sorry. I'm sure I'll think of some other way to make this gimmicky. Don't worry, I'm doing fine. And even sleep is easy for me on a Brooklyn Bedding mattress. These are some of the most comfortable mattresses you can get. And there's nothing better than not having to wake up to an alarm and just sinking into one of these beds. You ever just wake up and go back to bed? Oh, yeah. Now that's civilized living. Brooklyn Bedding offers you a 120-night sleep trial. Give them a try for yourself and tell me if this isn't one of the most comfortable mattresses you've ever slept on. Now me, I tend to like a firm mattress with a little bit of give on top, but you may be different. Brooklyn Bedding offers 15 plus mattresses to customize, to mix and match different types of styles. You'll find something that fits your lifestyle. Your sleeping lifestyle. Even if you're the type of person who sleeps like this, because I sometimes sleep like this. Plus, Brooklyn Bedding also offers free shipping. How cool is that? And all Brooklyn Bedding mattresses are designed and shipped from their Arizona factory. Plus, they have a deal for you. Go to brooklynbedding.com/regularcarreviews and use my code, regularcarreviews, to save 30%. That's brooklynbedding.com/regularcarreviews. That saves you 30%. And that's on top of that free shipping I was talking about. Remember to use my code, regularcarreviews. Oh, this is nice. You're wondering if I really do sleep on these mattresses? Oh, yeah. And anytime we have people over to the house, this guest bedding mattress, there's that other one over in the corner? Nope. Everybody always ends up on the Brooklyn bedding one. There's something about that soft give, that initial slide in, and then the firmness that supports you, especially the lower back. At least that's how it feels to me. And you just don't want to get back up. And now, back to an engine swap Mercedes.
But the thing is, the original 280, this body, was meant to go 100 miles an hour, even with its original engine, which was a 2.8-liter inline-six. Of course, it wouldn't accelerate like a muscle car. The 2.8-liter six-cylinder was a momentum engine, not a high horsepower performance machine. You were meant to slowly, smoothly, and confidently climb up to triple digits. It's just now you have horsepower that can accelerate to 100 miles an hour in 13.4 seconds. And the suspension and wheels and the brakes to do that all safely. Aaron says that most interactions with the general public with this car go like this. 1, "Oh, that's an old car. When are you gonna paint it?" Or 2, "Well, what are those wheels, those brakes, that sound? What's going on here? When are you gonna paint it?" Bystanders really are adamant to ask, when is he painting this car? And the answer is, he's not. It's gonna remain ugly and dented and nasty. But I think that the bystanders' desire to have this thing painted speaks to something larger, a 2026 desire for agelessness, but more on that later.
When I roll on it on the highway, what do I need to get ready for?
I mean, it's not like an explosive amount of power or anything like that. Like you're not gonna be scared. Like it's fine.
Okay. All right. I was prepared for turbo LS.
No.
Like that type of.
No, okay. nothing like that. I mean, it makes a good amount of torque. It's got a modern automatic.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Contact. Oh. This is awesome. Where are my lights? Right here?
Nope. It's right next to it. Just turn it to the right. Two clicks. Yep.
Oh. Sorry about the wheel.
Yeah. That's okay.
Mercedes 280. For when you train your kids to believe that lollipops taste better coming from the pneumatic tube of a drive-through teller, so you can deposit your business check without having the back of your seat kicked. Mercedes in the 1960s was a brand obsessed with money. I suppose it still is today, but back then it had noble reasons, because the money you paid for a Mercedes in the 60s meant that the money was going into the business of over-engineering. And the product that you bought not only was a boost to your status visually, it also was a piece of engineering brilliance. Just listen to how these doors close. No American car could do this. The fit and finish on a 68 280. Oh, yes. Germany kept their holier-than-thou status well-stocked with objectively superior cars to what their neighbors were driving. And American cars in the late 60s, they were fast, in a straight line, of course. But ask them to be smooth. Ask them to dive into a corner and not become upset. Ask them for independent suspension. No. Oh, there were some American cars that had independent suspension, the C3 Corvette, for example. And there were American cars that could be smooth on the highway, like a Series 62 Cadillac or a Lincoln Continental or a Chrysler Imperial. But that was really it. But Mercedes, they became the brand of better than you energy. Now, in modern times, for every pawn shop owner whose son skates through life on wheels of dubious consent, there's an AMG in the driveway. For every owner of a bowling alley with a stripper pole in the bar area that never gets addressed, there's an S550 in one of the reserve spots that no one knows is reserved because the paint hasn't been updated since Obama's first term. For every smoke shop owner who doesn't know how his business is going to survive the banning of skill games, there's an E-Class at home that he'd sooner live in. A Mercedes will reinforce one's conception of self. To be parted from your Mercedes is to be parted from a stable identity. Why do you think they sell so many C-Classes? Even if that identity is a phobia for stillness, as seen through the eyes of high rollers who are always on to the next thing, because life is about the next acquisition. A venture capitalist who shaves in traffic because he always has somewhere to be that's more important than where he is. But now, a classic Mercedes like this avoids the careless attitude of renewable wealth. This is a refinement that still cares about decency. And it's so much the idea that this car looks like dog shit. It's refined, it's elegant, but visually unsettling. It's a decaying luxury brand, but its guts inside is steroid-injected TRT, eternally youthful. This may be the best car I will drive in 2026. It's the result of a gearhead cramming as much dot-com bubble machinery into a bespoke package as its framework can hold. It accommodates two extremes, and it's balancing on a knife edge between the understated and the over-engineered. And you're staring at a 280S. That means you're staring at a German automaker who at the time was arguably at the height of their powers. Yes, Mercedes was fantastic in the 80s. Yes, I love the W126. During the 60s is when Mercedes cemented their idea and their identity as the purveyor of old world quality. Because look at how this is shaped. We're in the 1960s here. This is the end of the jet age styling of automobiles and the beginning of sort of the Coke bottle era. And we're also at the height of muscle cars, but this is 68 and it looks like it's 53. This is old world, stately, very, very conservative. However, the 280 also had early safety innovations before anybody else. Front and rear crumple zones in 68. And Mercedes took a long time getting this car out. It's like video game logic. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is bad forever. On one hand, you can't really accuse the 280 of ever being rushed, since Mercedes were pretty deliberate about taking their time to get this car right. But on the other hand, that also was the problem. By the time they released the 280, it didn't fit nearly into its contemporary automotive landscapes as it might have had a few years earlier. And I say this as it relates to the United States. Again, if you look at the back of my Galaxy, see these afterburner taillights? This is pure jet age. Now this ended in about 65. We moved into the Coke bottle designs and into the muscle cars, the shape that's eternal that you know now. Plus, over here, federal emission standards hit for the model years in 68, which cleared the path for the Clean Air Act in 1970. So over the course of its life, the Mercedes 280 had to face challenges of being outdated virtually the minute it hit our shores. Because it made its entrance onto a regulatory battlefield that its high compression factory engines weren't designed to accommodate. They were more closely aligned with European performance characteristics than with American notions of environmental modesty, as small as they were back then. In a sense, the issue isn't that the 280 was rushed. It was the opposite. That so much care and time went into making it that the world started to pass this car by. With the W108, the Mercedes was putting its best foot forward, but putting your best foot forward doesn't matter if the foot gets run over by a truck because you took too long to get across the street. With all that said, you can't say that Mercedes didn't still end up making one of the most important cars of its generation. Between safety innovations like the aforementioned crumple zones, the collapsible telescopic steering column, the padded steering wheels, the reputation for durability was augmented by a greater appreciation for this pre-scandal congressman levels of cosmetic dignity. Before he gets caught in the hotel room, realizes his career is over, and stops shaving altogether. These cars were tastefully outfitted so that they looked as good as they were. If anything, this looks more expensive than it would have been new, as the MSRP for these was just under $6,000 in 1968, which would be about $55,000 in 2026. Not cheap, but a lot less than a full-size pickup truck, and it is cheaper than a current year E-Class or 3 Series, and used 60 years on, even better, because even if it was falling apart, the skeleton of what he got here will still offer something to build around. In addition to the ABS and all the other stuff and the power, it has a Becker Europa 2 radio with Bluetooth and a 2014 Volkswagen Golf seats with armrests that have been welded onto the frame rails. He got a wood interior and a dash liner from various other donor cars, including the tachometer. The only 280s that had a tach were the V8 models. But the achievement of this build is showing what later Mercedes could have done with what they had here. Because underneath, it's just an E55. Ignoring any tuner intake modifications, this feels significantly more imposing than a 2001 AMG, because it demands those aggressive highway pulls without projecting an imagery of aggression. Or rather, I should say, it is aggressive, but not in that gross Jersey Shore guy dude broad way of every 04 rich car. No, this is a dopamine machine. This slab of Teutonic brilliance just jamming through the air. I'm passing Teslas. I'm having a fantastic time. These are the redemption car stories that I love. A junkyard car destined for scrap, and now it's back on the road. Faster, stronger, confident, and new feeling, but with the scars and tears and dents and rust from a life lived long and hard. But remember earlier where I talked about agelessness and a 2026 obsession with old age? Let me tell you a quick story. While writing this review, Nick and I were in a coffee shop, and in walked a couple, an old wife and an even older looking husband. The husband was stooped over as he tried to stand up straight. His neck was going straight forward from his shoulders. His neck was parallel to the ground. His back was bent like a worn-out horse. His long-sleeved sweatshirt was tucked into the elastic band of his gray sweatpants, which were pulled halfway up his stomach. The wife comes up to the barista counter, and she says she wants a cappuccino and a muffin. Then the barista turns to the husband and asks what kind of coffee he wants. And then the wife repeats that exact question to him, just slower and more direct. And he activates a little bit. He picks his head up from staring at the floor. His eyes were sunken. His cheeks were like jello melting off of a plate and falling onto the counter. And he doesn't look at the barista. He looks at his wife. And he says, "Yes, I'd like a coffee." And the barista asks, "Would you like a 12 or 16 ounce?" And his mind goes blank. He stares. He looks for his wife for help. And he says, a few times, and says, 12, I guess. The barista asks, "Would you like a medium or dark roast?" And he pauses, and the synapses and the brain cells once again reach out to each other and connect after about what maybe be 8 seconds. And he just says, medium. It was as if he was deciding what the consequences were by making the wrong decision for all these binary choices. And then his head drooped back down to the ground. The shoulders were pulled down as well, as if the gravity of the entire planet was beckoning his body and the elements within back to the earth and dirt which bore him. And I was locked into that. And I realized it was out of fear. Fear of aging. Fear of becoming that, with the crystal clear knowledge that I will be there too, at some point, fretting over little decisions at a coffee shop, trying to understand the difference between a 16 and a 12-ounce coffee, and using all of my processing power to remember the difference between medium and dark roast. And that, I feel, is why builds like these are so validating. This is an old car meant to be discarded, an old car that was ready to rust and return to the earth. But not yet. It keeps running and now is as youthful and as strong as ever. But I can't do that. We can't do that. We can't live on. But here is a machine that will. It will be built and rebuilt forever. Forever young. Forever a contender out on the highways. It's like looking at an angel. And I wanted to be in this car all day. To feel it thunder and pull. And defy all expectations of what it is and what it has been. It's glorious. And even though I can't live on, I'm happy to be in the presence of something that will. See you next week.